What happens when one of music's most influential voices builds an empire by transforming his intimate experiences into global anthems? When the line between artistic expression and personal revelation becomes so blurred that millions feel they know the details of your heart. Drake's relationship journey represents one of the most publicly documented yet profoundly misunderstood narratives in modern entertainment. A progression from youthful romance to complex situationships to fatherhood, all chronicled in real time through his music. From his early connection with Keshia Chanté to his complicated dynamic with Rihanna to his co-parenting relationship with Sophie, each chapter reveals fascinating patterns about vulnerability, fame, and the search for authentic connection amid precedented scrutiny. What makes his relationship evolution truly exceptional isn't just its public documentation, but the profound insights it reveals about the paradox of emotional transparency in the digital age. As we explore his journey today, I'll uncover three counterintuitive truths about modern relationship patterns that will transform how you understand not just his story, but the evolving nature of connection in our hyper-exposed world. These insights contradict conventional wisdom, but are supported by both relationship psychology and the lived experience of digital age romance. Stay with me as I reveal these relationship principles that Drake's journey illuminates, principles that could revolutionize your understanding of vulnerability, intimacy, and the search for authentic connection in our age of performance. Just to note, if you enjoy this deep dive into celebrity relationship evolution, check out my 24-hour live stream channels for more content exploring both singles journeys and relationship dynamics. As a subscriber, you can join the conversation, share your perspectives, and connect with others fascinated by these same topics. Subscribe now and become part of our growing community. What does it mean to navigate intimate relationships when your emotional life becomes source material for art consumed by millions? To seek genuine connection when every interaction might become public narrative. Drake's relationship evolution spans over 15 years in the public eye, from his early Canadian television fame through his meteoric rise to global music dominance. Throughout this journey, his approach to romantic connection has undergone fascinating transformations that parallel his artistic evolution. I've analyzed the complete art of these relationships alongside his creative output, discovering something remarkable. His approach to love has evolved in ways that directly reflect his complex relationship with fame, authenticity, and vulnerability. This parallel evolution reveals profound truths about how public and private selves shape our capacity for genuine connection. Think about your own relationship with vulnerability and disclosure. How has sharing or protecting your emotional experiences shaped your connections? The patterns in Drake's journey might illuminate your own. Which moves us into truth one, early relationships and the foundation of vulnerability. Our earliest significant relationships often establish patterns of emotional disclosure that shape our approach to vulnerability for years to come. Drake's first publicly known relationship with childhood sweetheart Keshia Chanté occurred during his transition from Canadian television actor to inspiring musician. This formative connection, which he has referenced in his music years later, coincided with his earliest artistic expressions and the beginning of his public persona development. What makes this foundation significant is how it established what psychologists call vulnerability templates, early experiences that shape our willingness to risk emotional exposure. These early relationships occurred before fame magnified the consequences of personal disclosure, creating a baseline approach to intimacy that would be challenged by his subsequent rise to prominence. These early connections reveal our initial experiences with vulnerability, create patterns that persist even as our circumstances dramatically change. As Drake's platform grew, the emotional openness that once felt natural in private relationships becomes simultaneously his greatest artistic strength and his most significant personal risk. Consider your own formative relationships. How did they shape your comfort with emotional disclosure? What patterns established then still influence your approach to vulnerability now? Truth 2. Fame, public scrutiny, and complicated connections. As public visibility increases, our relationship patterns often reflect the tension between the desire for authentic connection and the need for emotional protection. Drake's rise to global fame coincided with a series of high-profile connections, most notably his years-long complicated dynamic with Rihanna and brief but intensely publicized connection with Jennifer Lopez. These relationships unfolded amid precedented scrutiny, with each interaction analyzed by millions and often transformed into source material for his increasingly personal musical catalog. This period demonstrates what relationship psychologists call approach avoidance conflict, simultaneously seeking and fair and intimate connection. His music during this era revealed an artist wrestling with the paradox of wanting genuine connection while navigating the complications of fame, trust issues, and public consumption of his personal life. What makes this phase significant is how it reveals the complex dance between artistic vulnerability and the emotional protection or emotional self-protection, while creating music that resonated precisely because of its emotional transparency. Drake appeared to develop relationship patterns characterized by ambivalence, intermittent connection, and resistance to traditional commitment structures. In your own experience, how have you navigated the tension between a desire for authentic connection and the fear of emotional exposure? What protective patterns might you have developed in response to past vulnerability that led to pain? Truth 3. Fatherhood and the evolution of private connection. Our most profound relationships, transformations often occur not through romantic connection, but through relationships that fundamentally shift our priority hierarchy and sense of purpose. Drake's relationship into fatherhood with Sophie, initially kept private and later acknowledged on his album Scorpion, represents perhaps the most significant transformation in his relationship approach. This transition to parenthood coincided with a period of reflection on legacy, responsibility, and the limitations of his previous relationship patterns. What makes this relationship phase remarkable is how it reflects a fundamental shift in priority and perspective. Fatherhood appears to have created a connection characterized not by the public-private tension of his romantic relationships, but by a different kind of vulnerability, the openness required by genuine parental responsibility. This evolution aligns with research showing that parenthood often catalyzes significant identity reorganization, particularly those whose previous identity was strongly tied to public perception. His evolution as a father reveals what developmental psychologists call generative concern, shifting focus from self-actualization to creating positive impacts for future generations. This transformation suggests a different relationship with vulnerability, one less concerned with emotional risk in romantic contexts and more focused on creating stability and legacy. In your own life, have certain relationships fundamentally reorganized your priorities and sense of purpose? How did this shift affect your approach to vulnerability in other connections? current patterns and the integration of public and private selves. Drake's current approach to relationships appears to reflect an evolving integration of public and private selves, maintaining his artistic vulnerability while establishing clearer boundaries around personal connections. What makes his current phase significant is how it suggests a maturing relationship with both vulnerability and privacy. While continuing to create music that draws from personal experience, he appears more selective about which aspects of his intimate life becomes public narrative. This evolution reflects what psychologists identify as differentiated intimacy, the capacity to remain emotionally authentic while maintaining appropriate boundaries. His evolving approach raises profound questions about the possibility of authentic connection in hyper-visible contexts. Can genuine intimacy survive constant public scrutiny? What boundaries are necessary to protect sacred connection in an age of performance and exposure? In your own life, how do you balance authentic self-disclosure with appropriate protection of your most vulnerable experiences? Drake's relationship evolution offers far more than celebrity fascination. It provides a powerful lens for understanding how vulnerability, fame, and the search for authentic connection intersect in the digital age. From his early relationships through his complicated public connections to his journey into fatherhood, each phase reveals how our approach to intimacy evolves alongside our relationship with public and private identity. His journey demonstrates the complex dance between emotional transparency and self-protection that characterizes modern connection. The progression from his early relationships to his current approach reveals our capacity for meaningful intimacy often requires finding balance between vulnerability and boundaries, authenticity and discretion. If this explanation resonated with you, please hit that like and subscribe button, and remember that your relationship with vulnerability shapes your capacity for connection in ways both obvious and subtle. Consider how your own comfort with emotional disclosure has evolved throughout your life, and what that might reveal about your deepest desires and fears around intimacy. As always, stay beautiful, stay connected, and stay conscious in the field.